I thought Emma was about to thank everyone for coming. Instead, she walked to the stage, took the microphone from the host, and looked directly at my son. The smile disappeared from her face. The room fell silent. Then she said 7 words that changed our family forever. Tonight, I'm finally telling the truth. My name is Margaret Wilson, and at 68 years old, I believed I had seen everything life could throw at me. I was wrong. The night everything changed started as the happiest evening of my life. My husband Robert and I were celebrating our 45th wedding anniversary at a beautiful hotel in Dallas, Texas. More than 200 guests filled the ballroom. Family members, friends, business partners, neighbors. Everyone we loved was there. The chandeliers sparkled above us, soft music played through the speakers, and waiters moved between tables carrying trays of food. I stood near the stage greeting guests when I noticed my daughter-in-law Emma sitting alone at a corner table. Something about her seemed different. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't talking. She simply stared at her hands. I walked over and touched her shoulder gently. Emma, sweetheart, are you okay? She looked up quickly and forced a smile. I'm fine, Margaret. But I knew she wasn't. A mother learns to recognize pain, even when it isn't her own child. Emma had been married to my son Michael for 6 years. When they first met, I couldn't have been happier. She was kind, respectful, hardworking, the kind of woman every parent hopes their son will marry. But over the last year, something had changed. The bright, confident young woman I once knew had slowly become quiet and withdrawn. Whenever I asked if something was wrong, she always gave the same answer. I'm just tired. That night, however, I saw something deeper than tiredness. I saw heartbreak. Before I could ask another question, Michael appeared beside us. His smile looked forced. Mom, Dad wants you for photos. I nodded and headed toward the stage. As I walked away, I noticed Emma lower her eyes, and Michael's expression instantly turned cold. A chill ran through me. I didn't know why, but for the first time, I wondered what really happened behind the closed doors of their marriage. An hour later, dinner ended and guests gathered around the stage. The host invited Robert and me to say a few words. After our speech, everyone applauded. Then the host smiled. Before we continue, Michael and Emma would like to say something. The crowd cheered. Michael stood. Emma remained seated. For several seconds, she didn't move. Then slowly, she rose to her feet. I noticed her hands shaking. Michael whispered something to her. She ignored him. Instead, she walked directly toward the stage. The ballroom grew quiet. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. Emma stepped onto the stage. She took the microphone, looked around the room, and then locked eyes with me. Tears filled her eyes. Margaret, she said softly, before I begin, I need you to know that I love you and Robert like my own parents. The room became silent. I felt my heart pounding. Then she turned toward my son and said, Tonight, everyone deserves to know who Michael really is. The moment Emma said those words, the room froze. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Even the music seemed to disappear. Michael stood near the stage, his face pale. Emma, stop, he said through clenched teeth. But she wasn't afraid anymore. For years she had remained silent. Tonight, that silence ended. She looked at the guests. Then she took a deep breath. Most of you believe Michael is a successful businessman, a loving husband, and a good man. She paused. That's exactly what I believe too. A murmur spread across the ballroom. I felt Robert squeeze my hand. Neither of us knew what was happening. Then Emma reached into her purse. She pulled out a thick envelope. My stomach dropped. 3 years ago, she continued, Michael convinced me to leave my career so I could support his growing business. Michael stepped forward. Emma, enough. She ignored him. I trusted him completely. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I signed documents without reading them because he told me we were building a future together. The guests listened in stunned silence. Emma removed several papers from the envelope, and those signatures allowed him to secretly take out loans in my name. Gasps echoed across the room. What? Someone whispered. My heart nearly stopped. I looked at Michael. For the first time, he couldn't meet my eyes. Emma continued. When the bills arrived, he blamed accountants. When debt collectors called, he blamed the bank. When I asked questions, he blamed me. Her voice cracked. But the truth was much worse. She held up another document. He had been hiding over $180,000 in debt. The room exploded with whispers. Several guests stared directly at Michael. Others looked away in disbelief. I felt dizzy. This couldn't be true, could it? Then Emma revealed something even worse. The money wasn't spent on business. The room fell silent again. It was spent on another woman. A collective gasp swept through the ballroom. Michael's face turned bright red. "She's lying," he shouted, but Emma wasn't finished. She connected her phone to the projector screen behind the stage. Within seconds, photographs appeared. Hotel receipts, text messages, bank transfers, vacation bookings, months of evidence. No one said a word, because nobody could. The proof was right there. For 6 years Emma had been a loyal wife, and for nearly 2 of those years, Michael had been living a double life. I felt tears fill my eyes, not because of embarrassment, because of guilt. How had I not seen it? How had I failed to protect her? Emma looked toward me. "Margaret, I never wanted to hurt you. I stayed quiet because I love this family." Her voice trembled, but I realized something. She wiped away tears. Silence protects the person causing pain. The room erupted into applause. Not for drama, not for revenge, for courage. Emma had done what most people never could. She told the truth. In front of everyone, Michael stormed toward the exit. But before he reached the doors, Robert's voice thundered through the ballroom. "Stop." The entire room turned. My husband slowly stood. For 45 years I had known him as a calm, gentle man. I had never heard that tone before. Robert looked directly at our son. "If even half of what Emma showed tonight is true, you owe her an apology." Michael stared in shock. "Dad, no." Robert pointed toward Emma. "That woman stood beside you when nobody else did. She deserved honesty." The ballroom was completely silent. Then Robert said words nobody expected. "And until you make this right, don't call yourself my son." Michael's face collapsed. Without another word, he walked out. The doors closed behind him. And just like that, everything changed. Emma stood alone on the stage, shaking, crying, exhausted. I walked toward her. The room watched. Every step felt heavy. When I reached the stage, I wrapped my arms around her. She broke down completely. And so did I. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I'm so sorry." Emma cried against my shoulder. For the first time in years, she wasn't carrying the burden alone. That night became the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Michael spent months trying to repair the damage he caused. Some relationships recovered, others never did. But Emma rebuilt her life. She returned to work, paid off the debt that wasn't hers, found her confidence again, and eventually discovered something more valuable than revenge: peace. Because sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is stand up, tell the truth, and walk away from the people who never deserved their loyalty.